All right, y'all, so I was thinking about my compost and different ways to apply it to the soils and stuff like that. But yeah, believe it or not, that's what I think about in my free time. And I think I have an idea. I think there's a way you can take your compost, inoculate some cardboard and some mulch and the soils, and I think you can do it in like one application and have permanently fixed soils. I think. This is still a working theory, but today we're gonna put it in action. We're actually gonna try this, and I'll show you guys how like my thought process is going. If this works, this is an absolute game changer. Like instant gardens could go in left and right and immediately have bomb soil, especially if you do it in the fall, allow things to go dormant, and then in the spring, once the microbes had time to inoculate the soil, multiply, reproduce, all that type of stuff, I think you could have like insane harvests in just like that 6-month period, or at the end of that 6-month period from fall to spring. But before we do that, remember next week, Midwest Preparedness Conference. It's September 23rd through the 25th, I think. I don't know, it's linked down below. I'll be there teaching you how to raise animals like these chickens over here for free. As well as not larger chickens, those are ostriches, but larger animals as well. Also, if you need a permaculture consultation where I come out to your property and I give you a game plan, order of operations, what to do, when to do it, where to do it, hit up the email down below. And if you want to get your soil tested for the biology and see what stage it's at, then hit up the email down below. Oh, also, if you want to learn everything I know about permaculture, hit up the permaculture design course. It's linked down below. It's in Patreon. You can get in for as little as $5. So with that being said, let's get into this experiment, really. All right, so I just made some compost extract in this bucket. If you want to learn how to make compost extract, then check out my previous videos on making compost extract. But the mesh bag that I took out of it, I have it sitting on top of this mulch because there's still a lot of moisture in here. It's going to keep on draining out and everything. But I have it sitting on top of this mulch. In fact, I'll move it over here. And I'm going to let the microbes drip into this as well. But this right here, I'm going to go ahead and inoculate the soils first. And I'm going to put it in my handy dandy watering can right there. I need 2 hands. And I'm going to water these this bed in particular. I'm going to water this bed first and get the soil nice and inoculated. And then I'm going to do the next steps. So I'm going crazy. I'm going overkill with this stuff, right? Because you can't overdo the organisms, really. You can overdo some organisms, but not in a nice biocomplete compost. You're pretty good to go. Now I'm gonna rinse out this bucket and get all that sediment out, and then I'm just gonna dump it directly on the garden. All right, so that step is done. Soil is inoculated. All right, now next step, or step 2, so I took some of a couple handfuls of compost and I basically made an extract in the bucket. I took a couple of pitchforkfuls and then added it to the water that was already in this wheelbarrow right here, right? And I had this cardboard soaking in there, which, remember, if you're applying cardboard to the surface of the soil, then you always want to saturate it first, just because if this stuff is dry, then it's going to act hydrophobic. And you want this to be not hydrophobic, hydrophilic. I soaked it in the extract and it's inoculated with these organisms, right? So let me get a string run, because I'm still gonna plant some seeds here. I'm gonna be planting like carrots, cabbage. In fact, it's in that bag right there. I'm gonna be planting a bunch of stuff here, so I want to still have contact with the soil. So I'm only gonna do the cardboard in strips, but let me get, so I wanna make sure, like I'll do 3 strips, right, of where I can plant. So I'm gonna tie the string right here using a bowline, which is a little overkill, but it's a fast knot. There we go, there we go. So that way I have like a straight line to follow and I can leave a gap there. Now I should also probably put in my next one so I know that these cardboard pieces aren't overlapping that part too. So let me get that squared away. Now, as I empty out this cardboard, I'm gonna replace it, and yeah, so I'll just kind of get it laid down, and then I'll go get another batch of cardboard and let that inoculate while I'm kind of layering this cardboard a little bit more intentionally than what I'm doing right here. Some of this stuff, obviously, I'm gonna have to break down and tear up a little bit, which is fine. It's all wet, it's pretty easy to tear up, especially along the seams. But you can see this right here. I still got plenty of compost within here, and I have way more compost than what's needed to create like a proper extract. Remember, if you follow the recipe on extracts, you can dilute it up to 20 times, and this is way past that. But I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this with more cardboard and let it saturate while I fill the rest, or while I spread out the rest. All right, so I do want to make sure that I have enough of a row so I can still like plant everything in the ground, because I have already treated this stuff, so it should be pretty doggone good. But I'm looking for the overkill option, right? I'm looking for like the permanent fix. If there's a permanent fix that we can do one time, we can apply it one time, then that's a freaking game changer. That means I can go out, do a consultation, fix their soils all in one go, and as long as they don't do anything bad to the soil, then they're good to go as well. Which I've been thinking I might actually sell that as a service of like, hey, I'll come out and fix your soils. Because a lot of people struggle with making compost, and I get it. It's a new skill, just like any other skill. It takes some time to learn, but people are wanting fixed soils before that, which is, I totally understand. So I've actually been thinking about selling a service where I come out and I fix your soils. If anybody's interested in that, then let me know down in the comments below. But yeah. Seems like it could be pretty helpful to a lot of people. Also realizing in this very moment that the more efficient way isn't to lay everything out on the bed itself. Just put it off to the side and then reach for it when you're ready. And then also when you're applying your cardboard, remember to overlap everything. So that way you don't have any seams or anything like that, especially if you're in an area where you're breaking in new ground. This way the weeds don't climb up in between those seams and create issues. And as far as cardboard goes, I don't care what kind of cardboard it is. I don't care if it's waxy, I don't care if it's glossy, I don't care. I want any kind of cardboard, especially like with the inks and everything. There's some people that are worried about the inks and whatnot. Don't be. Most of them are soy based, and they're going to be broken down in long and medium chain carbonic acids. So don't let the soy stuff bother you. I mean, don't be eating it. You don't want to turn into, you know. But as far as like soy-based paint and everything, not an issue at all. And keep in mind, you can also go up to 3 feet thick with your cardboard before the contact point between the soil and your cardboard goes anaerobic. So like you can go pretty doggone thick with your cardboard before you start creating any issues. Man, my hair is frizzy today. All right, so I got my bucket of compost extract right here. I've got my straw that's been like getting some compost extract, getting some compost. It's wet too. And I'm just gonna dump my straw in this bucket. It's pretty tightly packed in this container right now, so it's a little bit of a nightmare to get out. And I'm gonna keep on doing that and applying it to the surface of the cardboard. So starting over here in this corner. And I'm gonna go kind of light at first, and if I need to get more straw, then I'll do that. And I might need to make some more extract, because naturally, whenever I take this out of the bucket, I'm pulling a lot of that moisture out. Now, I should also say this only works on good, high quality homemade compost. Like this isn't gonna work on the compost you buy from the store, right? Because that is completely denuded of any life. It has no life in it. All it is just like organic matter, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with organic matter. The issue is the price you're paying for that organic matter. That's the issue. There we go. Pull it away from the ditch so I still have a place to plant and everything. And now I'm gonna hit up the middle, the next one, and then the next one. So I'm basically just putting straw on top of where I put the cardboard and everything. I think I just figured out a better way to inoculate the straw. So you take your compost extract, right? And you pour it in the bucket with the straw until it fills up. And then you kind of let it set for a couple of seconds, right? And then you pour the excess back into your extract bucket. So that way the straw gets fully inoculated, but this way you're wasting less of the extract. All of this is eventually going to make it on the garden bed anyway, so I'm just trying to make sure I inoculate all of the straw beforehand. Y'all ever get excited about an idea and then just start doing it and you're like, hold on, this is the most inefficient way to do this? Well, that's exactly what just happened with the straw, right? So I have this whole wheelbarrow that I could be doing the straw in, and instead I'm over here fooling around with buckets. Anyway, now we're gonna move a little bit faster. Now, just for some freaking overkill, because I want some very successful plants and I don't want to do this again, I'm going to take handfuls of my compost and I'm just going to use it very inefficiently in the cracks between the straw. Remember, this is the most inefficient way to use your compost, but you see me doing it. That's because I'm about to make some more compost. This is basically a compost making factory, and I want a fantastic garden. Now, this is kind of like an instant garden, but way better. Like, it's a very, very fast acting instant garden. And this is so much better than the typical instant garden. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You can still get fantastic results from an instant garden. It's just this one is an instant garden with like supercharged microbes that are ready to get going immediately. The instant garden invites the microbes. This injects the microbes. And there we go. This took maybe just like a tad bit over 2 buckets of compost to fill these ridges in. But this is an instant garden, but 10 times better. All right, so what is the point of all this? So first we take the compost, which is the microbes within the compost is responsible for all of this growth. The microbes, and if you've heard this spiel, then go ahead and skip. But if you haven't, the compost or the microbes in the soil take the exudates from the plants. Now, in the exudate, or sugar, it's food for the microbes basically, it has a grocery list of things that the microbe needs to go and get in exchange for the sugar or the exudate, right? And then it comes back, it goes and gets it, and then it comes back, and then it gets eaten by the predator, and then it gets pooped out the other end of the predator, and then it feeds and benefits the plant, right? And that's how the nutrient cycling within the soil works. That is it. Whenever you use like salt-based fertilizers and everything, what it really does is it gets soaked up or dissolved in the water and then soaked up through the plant that way, and that's not how plants best take up nutrients. Also, it only happens once. With the microbes, it's an on-demand system. So typically with compost extract, you think of it as like military invasions, right? Like the first wave is like, okay, we did some damage, got a few guys left. The second wave is like, all right, now we got kind of like a footprint, now we can proceed forward. And then the third wave is you completely conquered the entire soil with the beneficial biology. With this though, like I'm thinking this is going to be a one-time fix, right? So it's like I inoculated the soil first, and then I protected it from evaporating or drying out by layering it with the cardboard. And then on top of that cardboard, I protected the cardboard, which has the corrugation and everything. I protected it from drying out with this inoculated straw. So everything is like leaching down, and as I water, everything is gonna continue leaching down. This straw is super oxygen rich. Same with the cardboard because of the holes, the corrugation, the oxygen that's involved with it, right? And then in between the valleys, I inoculated the compost, which isn't really prone to drying out because it's surrounded by wet material, properly wet material on either side, right? And then it's soon gonna be covered in vegetation. Now, what I'm gonna plant in here is like a combination. Let's look at the seeds real quick. Here's what I'm gonna be planting this month. So I got a combination of, like, believe it or not, Walmart seeds, as well as Southern Exposure Seed Exchange. There's a really cool company out of Virginia. If you haven't heard of them, check them out for seeds. They're really cool. But I got some beets. I got carrots. The beets I'm doing a Detroit Dark Red, Chantenay, Red Core carrots, purple dragon carrots, because purple vegetables, believe it or not, are very, very good for you. I got some Yellowstone carrots, some more Yellowstone carrots, Walla Walla sweet onion. I haven't honestly grown onion from seed. I'm gonna throw it out here, see if it works. If it doesn't, oh well. If it does, even better. Bull's blood. If you haven't noticed with my planting abilities, I plant it and then I worry about the details afterwards, because I'm just want to see how bad of a gardener I can be and how much this soil can just take care of everything else, right? I got French dressing radishes. I've got some all seasons cabbage. I got a lot of that. A friend of mine, she's quite a bit older than me, but she grew up making sauerkraut, and she hasn't made it in a while because she hasn't had like cabbage that tastes as good as it did back then. So I'm gonna grow her some really good cabbage and see how that works. I got a bunch of Nantes Supreme carrots. I got some more Detroit Red beets. If you haven't noticed, I love beets. I got some carrots. Those are more of the Nantes ones. Lutz green leaf beets. That's a winter keeper, right? Premium late flat Dutch cabbage. I got 2 of those. I got some peas, some leftover peas, and then I got some petite sweet carrots, right? So I'm doing a bunch of like, actually, I wasn't planning on doing the peas. I don't know how those got in here. Maybe I'll just do them just to use up the bag. But I'm doing like radishes, I'm doing carrots, beets, a couple of onions, and then a bunch of cabbage. That is the plan. Now, for this bed, I'll probably do, carrots, because they need a little bit more sun, and then the beets, and then the cabbage. And then I also got 3 other beds that I need to plant out as well. I haven't fully designed like what's gonna go where just yet, but it's going to happen. But yeah, that's it, y'all. That's the thought process behind this. And if this works, then that's freaking amazing. I'm really hoping it works. So thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, Midwest is next week. If you need a consultation, hit up my email. If you want to do a PDC or permaculture design course, hit up the Patreon link down below. Remember, it's as little as $5. So until next time, we'll see you.